Again. Hi there, Night King TV here. Xbox NA, bringing you a Sorc PVP build, open world and battlegrounds. It works for small scale too and dueling. Not as effective in dueling, but if you're looking for something with burst damage, this is definitely what you want. Alright, so we'll go into it. I'll try to keep it short. This is my first build video, so bear with me. But I'm going to try to keep it short for you guys and not ramble too much. So we're running 5-piece War Maiden, sharpened on the swords. Basically that gives you 823 crit, some max magicka, some spell damage, and 396 spell damage. Two your magic damage abilities, which is pretty much what I'm running on this build. Everything is magic damage. There's a little bit of elemental, but most of it is magic. Direct magic damage. And the 2 sharpened swords, of course, for the physical and spell penetration. So I'm running the 2 swords. I'm running the defending resto on my back bar, and then I've got the chest, the waist, and gloves in War Maiden. For my monster helm, Engine Guardian. For sustain, infused and divines, max magic enchants on everything. I'm going for high magicka pool for those big shields. For 6.5. This is pretty big for sustain. It procs like crazy. You know, because I'm constantly using abilities, shields, you know. I'm not really using heavy and light attacks with dual wield, so I'm casting a lot of ability. So this thing procs, I mean, really good with Lich, because as I'm going to show you here in a minute, Lich has a pretty cooldown. So usually you get that Lich proc, and then you're waiting for it, Well, this will pop in more times than I can even tell you when you don't have that Lich proc. And it's just overall really good for sustain. You have a lot of burst, and the sustain is the issue on this build, but I fixed it with Engine Guardian. I used to have a few issues, but since I put Engine Guardian on, I have had no sustain issues at all. Set is Lich, 4 magicka recovery, 1000 max magicka, 124 recovery, and when you count 33% magicka, your magicka recovery is increased 20 seconds. As I said, there is a 1-minute cooldown, which is a cooldown. You hit this basically on your Engine Guardian until that minute cooldown goes through. Now on the Lich, I'm running the legs and the feet and the jewelry. It's basically 100% uptime. Maiden, I lose the War Maiden on my bar with the resto, but that doesn't really matter too much because, I mean, I'm not on my back bar buffs, and so I can damage. All my damage comes from my dual wield boards. Oh yeah, and I actually have spell damage on the jewelry, burst up a little higher. I wanted to show you the stats first. I got to cover food, tasty and melon sauce, the tri-stat. You know, I need stam for the Burdell, the immobilizations, and it, you know, it's no joke. So you gotta be able to dodge roll out of those pot wise. I'm running the Alliance spell drops. I also usually have some of the Alliance health drops, which give you movability. I don't have any of those right now. I use them all, but before I go back in. Usually would run immovables. I don't have any made, but I usually run the immovable pots, and I think usually I go with, so it gives you it gives you health and increases your recovery. That's what I would normally. But here lately, I've been low on mats, so I've just been pots. They work pretty well. I haven't had a lot of trouble when I've been using those. So I think that for the most part. We'll get into my stats now. So on my dual wield bar, well, my match goes for some reason. Alright, well anyway, 30 max magicka. I like to be at around 40. Why it's at 34 right now, because be around 38. So I have to look 34k max magicka. With my recovery stuff, I guess I don't have a pool. I like to be around 40, and I am working on that. Health is lower too. Oh, I know why. My food. Let me eat my food. There. So anyway, 39k max magicka, 19k max health, 13k max stam. Like I said, I want to be around 40. I'll be up to 40. A couple more gold glyphs. I don't have all gold glyphs yet, but I'd like to be at 20k max health. I mean, I'm right there, 19,955. That's close enough. You know, that way I can take a hit if if my shields go down, I can take a hit. Max stam 13k. Spell damage is at 2817. When I cast E, I go up to probably around 3200. Rock my spell damage enchant. You know, that goes up to around like 35, 36, I'd say. Spell damage somewhere in there. You know, crit's not key. Everybody right. On the off chance I hit somebody with low crit resistance, I might get a crit. Spell resistance 10k, physical resistance 8.9, not too high, but shields I make do. If you watch my gameplay videos, you'll see I get knocked around a little bit, but as long as I can get up and get a shield off fast enough, normally I survive. Even when someone gets me with my shield down. And 747 crit resistance. I don't know. I'd like to be around 1,000, but that's probably where it's going to be with my current CP placement. 1310. That is pretty low, but with Engine Guardian and Lich, I easily make up for that. Health recovery, Empire, and stam is 668, kind of low. I do want to show you. So my magic recovery is at 13. Let me go ahead and get the Lich proc here. Friends. If I can get below 30%. Yep. Now I go up to 3023 magicka recovery. Now I have no problems with sustain, especially with Engine Guardian. So basically what if I get low on magicka at some point, ideally, if you don't have that minute cooldown, then you wait for that Lich proc. As soon as you see that blue around you and you get that Lich proc, you go on offense. Hopefully you get an Engine Guardian proc with it. But what I try to do is I wait for that Lich proc, and once I get that Lich proc, it's on. You know, I mean, I have the recovery, and I should have the sustain that it's my turn to go on offense, and you know, hopefully get whoever I'm fighting to backpedal a little bit, and then of course I can heal up and do what I can do what I need to do once I get them off me. And I have 64 in the magicka. I just put all in the magicka, everything in there. I use the Apprentice Mundus. I was using the Atronach, but I wanted more burst damage, and with Lich and Engine Guardian, I'm not having issues, so I should be okay there. Vampire, of course. Alright, let's go into the skills. So, Mage's Wrath, this is your execute, as long as you're spammable. You know, 3,800 shock damage. If the player falls below 20% health within 4 seconds, an explosion will deal an additional 13,000 shock damage on top of the 38, and it'll do 5,100 damage to other enemies nearby. The thing you got to know about this is that when you hit somebody with the Mage's Wrath, they have that execute on them for 4 seconds. So that means you don't want to spam. I mean, I know I say it's spammable earlier, but you don't want to spam the shit out of it. You want to hit them with it, and then, you know, like either proc your shield or get a light attack in, or do something. But when you get to that, basically, if they fall below 20% health within that 4 seconds, it doesn't matter when it is, that execute is going to go off, that damage. So you can even, like, you know, hit them with the Mage's Wrath, and then wait for your curse frag combo to go off. Okay, if that curse frag combo goes off and gets them below 20% in that 4 seconds, boom, they're going to take that extra 13,000. That's kind of bread and butter damage combo, I guess you would say. That's where a lot of your burst damage comes from. These 3 abilities right here, where the most of your damage comes from. Haunting Curse, curse an enemy with a ruin, dealing 13,000 magic damage. D100, the other enemies within the radius. It's a 30 range and a 12 duration. So this is the first ability you cast when you go on offense. You want to throw this, and you want to do it at a distance. Basically, like as soon as you have the person within that range, you use a 12-second duration, and then you close distance if you need the rest of your abilities. So it explodes 4 seconds, and then it's going to explode. Excuse me. It explodes at 3.5 seconds, and then it's going to explode again after 8.5 seconds. You want to keep this up. You don't want to spam the ability. It's kind of expensive, and you'll blow through your magic. So you want to cast it, and ideally what you do is you cast it, get off an entropy, and power a frag. Okay, you should be able to do that in 3.5 seconds. So empower the frag. So you want mage power frag 0.5. So you want to make sure you proc your. You want to get a Mage's Wrath off. You want to get a frag proc, and then you want to throw that second at the 8.5 second mark. You time your frags with the explosions. Ideally, have Mage's Wrath and tick. That force execute. You want to have all that up at the same time. Odds are, if all that that's you have Hardened Ward. It says 6-second duration. 3, if I can get away with it. Increase your max magic by 5, which is bigger shield. See, increasing your spell. That's where I get that 45% from. It will entropy. So bar, and I have entropy on the back bar, so I can empower which bar I'm on. Ultimate is Ice Comet. You can also run Dawnbreaker is pretty good. I don't have it yet. I don't have my. So when I get it, I'm going to be on and trying it out. Ice Comet is a good ultimate. 20 stuns for 2 seconds. It also does like a knockback, so it knocks them in the air in 2 seconds. Movement speed by 50 per seconds. Now after the impact, it also puts an 8, which does 5,500 for 11.8 seconds every second. So a good player, they know the cue, the sound, and their feet. Anybody who knows that sound knows the cues. All you have to do is block, and you pretty much mitigate all the initial damage. The only thing you're going to take is the damage from the AoE. So that's why Dawnbreaker is a little better, because you can kind of sneak in a Dawnbreaker. You can animation cancel, sneak it in, use it in a combo, and it's a lot harder to lay with the Ice Comet. That's the downfall compared to Dawnbreaker. So yeah, either Dawny or Ice Comet, your preference. Let's go to the back bar, the resto conversion. This is for sustain. Now that I'm running Engine Guardian, I might play around with this spot. This is kind of a flex spot on the build. You can pretty much put anything in right here. There's a 1.2 second cast time, and it can bash you. They can use it. So this is something that you want to break line of sight. You don't want somebody in your face. Most of the time what I do is I'll maybe streak thing. Maybe kite around a rock and use Dark Conversion to get my magicka up, or my health even. If I'm low on magicka and I don't have that Lich or Engine Guardian proc. But the main thing is you don't want somebody in your face. You don't want you can't use this while you're being pressured, because they'll interrupt it. They're gonna knock, and it's over, because if you king for 1.2 seconds, and they can see the casting that. Anybody, if they see you using it, they're gonna try to interrupt it and knock you back, and you're pretty much dead because you won't be able to shield their life. Streak. This is get out. You can also use it offensively. Say you have some damage, and all the enemies in the range 0.5 seconds. So something you can streak through the group and maybe get away, separate a few of them. If I have, and you can go on offense. This actually, depending on structure, So you do 86 damage over 14.5 seconds. So it heals you for 76 seconds. So you basically have a little hot. Use this, it increases your spell 20 seconds. This up pretty much 100% of the time. You just want to watch your buff timer, switch to your back, something like that. Have it slotted. So that's entropy. Also on the mages, actually I'll just show 10, which for magic builds want to get the main thing you want is cast the mage's guild ability to empower, increasing the damage of your next direct damage attack by 20% for 5 seconds. Mage's guild ability, entropy, that's inner light on each bar, so I frag. This is your direct damage ability, so basically you either want to empower the curse or the frag, one or the other, ideally the frag. And then when I come around the second time, I want on health, and I can empowered frag. Then I just have dampen magic, another surround yourself with a 20 damage. But the main thing increases your amount of percent. So like I'm running all light, so I have, all my getting my shields. Harness Magicka is the other member of the two that I would rather have a little bit bigger of a shield. Just my preference. I may go back to Harness at some point if this is working pretty good. Healing Ward. Heal. The only time I swap out Healing Ward is to healing for the group, because ideally you're going to have too often. But healing dual or small scale. Basic 3,500 heals you for 20,084 or 2,084 health. Where this is that I don't use this in health. I just rely on my shield or dark conversion. Because ideally you want to be at percent. That's ability. Of course I use it sometimes. It's 3,800 magicka, so you don't spam this ability. The other reason watch situationally is when the shield expires, the target is healed for 103%. Okay, so 100% depending on how you're wounded. You're healed when the 6 seconds is over, assuming that shield is, you're going to be healed for 103% of the remaining. Now, ideally what you want to do is you want to cast your other two shields and then Healing Ward, because shields get taken down by the order you cast them. So if someone's wailing on you with damage, you want them to eat through those other two Healing Ward. Hopefully they won't even touch it. So when that 6 seconds comes around, get that 3,400 damage shield, but it's going to heal you for 103%. I don't know, maybe a heal, 7 along those lines. What you'd want to do is like I have front bars, so I bars and then healing before they hit the Healing Ward. That way you get the maximum healing, maximum shield, and you get the bang for your buck. You only want to cast the Healing Ward seconds, no more than that. It's expensive, and it's a heal you over. You want that shield to expire to get that other heal. So if you're spamming Healing Ward, you're wasting your magicka and you're not getting the full benefit of the skill. For the back bar ultimate, I have Soul Strike on. It's good for like if you're by yourself, it does a damage. But when I get Dawnbreaker, I'm going to front bar Dawnbreaker and put Comet on the back bar to get that extra magicka boost on my back bar. And it's still a good ultimate. I mean, I'm still going to use Comet, but from what I've been seeing, Dawnbreaker's a little better right now, because you go more sneakier with it. Reason why, I've been playing this game for a while, and you throw a Comet down. So that's the skills. We're going to CP now. CP is relatively simple. Start with the tower. We got 40 in Warlord, which reduces the cost of. Again, roots and snares are big, so you break them snares, break roots, them immobilizations, and still have stam. You get stam's actually pretty important. Siphoner, I took my points from Horns to put them in the Siphoner to try, since I do use a resto stat lighted. It's a little bit. It'll decrease their health. I mean, why? It gives me a little bit of an edge. And I didn't really know where else to put with the the turns. I just decided to throw them there. Out. 100 in Arcanist. This is, a lot of people would just say putting 100 in Arcanist, but as I say, I was struggling with sustain a little while ago, and I wanted as much recovery as possible. I went for burst damage on this build, so like I said, so I just threw 100 in there to get that 15%. I mean, I wanted the 15%. I didn't care about, the diminished returns and all that. Tenacity 65 increases the magicka and stamina of your fully charged heavy attacks, how much it restores. So when I'm on my resto and I'm heavy attacking, when I'm shielding or doing whatever I'm doing, I am heavy attacking or at least light attacking to build ultimate and to get a little, to get my magicka back. So when I do, it's just going to increase how much I get back. I don't have to spend as much time on my resto bar if I get low. On the flip side, on my dual wield, I do attack with my swords. I do light attacks for my enchants. Right now I have an Oblivion enchant and a enchant, increased spell damage enchant. I'll probably change out the shock. I think I'm going to try that. But anyway, when I'm light attacking, I'm getting stamina back. And like I said, stamina is pretty important as well. Most people wouldn't think that stam is, real important on a magicka build, but it really is if you want to survive right now, especially if you're by yourself or in a small group. And then I have 5 in the tumbling. I just, a few into there, extra points. I do roll dodge from time to time. I try not to, but there are times when I do. Elemental Expert 60. Increases your flame, frost, shock, and magic. These are one of these. So I have 60 in there. Give me a little bit of boost. Spell erosion for the penetration. I'm still stacking penetration. I don't see a reason not to. So 45 in there, and with my sharpened sword, pretty good amount of penetration. Which is good for my, my burst damage. 58 in the Master at Arms. This is the damage done with your direct damage attacks by 20. That's for frags, Vicious Curse, banner. I mostly put these points in for the frags. I want those big frag hard, so I put a bunch of points in the Master at Arms. It seems to be working. And 57 in the Thaumaturge for my time. This is for like my Ice Comet, that. The AoE on the ground. Vicious Curse, I've been told, is direct damage, but I mean, it used to be a dot, so I don't know exactly what it falls under. But I put when I start running Dawnbreaker, it'll make a difference because Dawn pretty nasty dot, just like Comet. So I would put at least like 40 in the Thaumaturge. You don't have to put 57, but I would definitely recommend putting some in here for your damage over time abilities. You don't have many, but warrant putting some points into it. Ironclad. This is the antithesis. People are stacking Master at Arms, stand builds. A lot of builds are. So you want to have a defense against that. You want to put some in the Ironclad. It reduces your damage taken by direct damage attacks. 10 in light armor focus, just to boost my physical resistance up a bit because it is a little bit low. I would like my physical resistance to be a little higher, but with my shields and my healing, I get by. I don't have a problem surviving normally. 60 in Elemental Defender. This is, Hardies for your poison, physical, and disease damage. Elementals for flame, frost, shock, and magic. I like a 50-50 split. I like 60-60. You can do a little bit more, a little bit less. Just whatever you feel you're lacking. You can do. You don't have to do 50-50. Just whatever you feel. But this is what works for me. And then the Bastion for the big shields. I mean, you're a Mag Sorc. You want to have big shields. That's how you survive. So I think that's it. I do have some gameplay videos on my channel, me playing with this build. There's a variation of a Destro Staff build for PvP. I can always throw that up if anyone's interested, but it's not really, you don't change it hardly anything at all. Basically, just your weapons is all you're changing. So anyway, I think that'll do it. I know this video was a little bit long. I'll try to get shorter. You know, throw me a like and a subscribe if you'll be so kind. I would really appreciate it. And this Night King TV signing off. Enjoy.